everyone, and welcome to yet another very exciting episode of the Team Lead Talks podcast. I am your host out of Alexandria, Virginia, Andrew Becker. On today's episode, we have the world's first self-proclaimed, or I kind of gave you the title too, LinkedIn savant, Anthony Simonie out of Austin, Texas. Hey, man, how you doing?
Hi, man, I'm doing great. Yeah, what a great way to be introduced. I've never been introduced as a savant. I think that's a good thing, right? I hear it.
Hey, yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah.
It could be bad.
Who knows?
Right? Who knows? Who knows? Yeah. So it's great to be here. An honor to come and share whatever wisdom I have with the audience and just see what kind of value I can bring to y'all.
Yeah, man, I think this is going to be a really interesting topic, niche topic that you don't really, I haven't certainly kind of gotten into at all, other than with you. So, but before we jump into the LinkedIn approach to a real estate business, give us the kind of like high level overview of who Anthony is, how you got to, your savant status, etc.
Well, first of all, since you said savant, I need to put my glasses back on because I hear that.
That fits the bill. Yeah, we'll start over with the glasses on.
Well,
Right.
Because I hear that wearing glasses increases the perception of intelligence by like 10% or something like that. So
I'm intimidated by you now. Can you take them off?
Yeah. So this is great. So So currently I live in Austin, Texas, and a little bit about me. I guess I've been an entrepreneur since 2007. So if I do the math, I think that's 17, 18 years, something like that, right? Man, I started off in the corporate world, left the corporate world. I was a medical device sales professional and left to kind of leave that kind of high stress world and get into, of all things, foreclosure cleanouts. And so a lot of people know that industry as property preservation. And so basically I took that business, I grew it from starting Kansas City. So handling all of Missouri, and then I expanded into California, a portion of California, Orange County and Los Angeles, that area, and then expanded to Arizona, and then put family members in place to run the different areas. And I moved to Arizona because that's where the sun was, or more consistent weather. And so yeah, I've been entrepreneur for like 18 years. I took that business, I turned it into a coaching business, and so during a time when a lot of people were losing their businesses, their jobs, they were looking for something. And I just happened to show up at the right time with a really great opportunity, had a low barrier of entry, and had a lot of upside to it. So I started training people, and that business went really, really well. And that's where I learned really how to do all this online marketing and offline direct response and all that stuff, because I was introduced to Dan Kennedy very early on in my career. And it just blew my mind. I had no idea that world existed. And then once I found out that it did exist, I was like, man, I can do that. And so I did that, ran that for a long, long period of time. And through some bad business breakups, I found LinkedIn. LinkedIn was kind of like, I never expected, like if you thought I was going to be on your podcast this many years later, being introduced as a LinkedIn savant, I would have laughed, because I literally thought the same thing that everybody else thinks, and that is LinkedIn's a place to go post a resume or to look for a job or to hire somebody, and it's great for that. But I had a friend come to me in a mastermind I was in during one of my I'd say it was one of the lowest points in my life, and that was I said the business breakup that I went through. But during that same period of time, my son almost passed away as a baby. So, make a long story short, my business partner at the time, while I was in the hospital with my son, I actually had to give my son CPR. It was one of those situations. Man. So, yeah, I don't recommend it. If you can avoid that at all costs, please do. It still has the same effect on me today than it did,
I'm sure, yeah,
years ago. The moral of the story was I was in the hospital. He drew up an amendment to our partnership and told me it was required by Secretary of State. And I believed him. I signed it, didn't read it. It gave away half of the business. So had some friends. One of my friends came to me and said, hey, we're doing this stuff on LinkedIn. And again, I thought he was trying to get me a job. And I thought, I'm not trying to get a job. I'd like to start another business. And so I gave in. I started messing around with the platform. And very quickly, I started reaching significant levels of success. I came up with a new offer, new audience, nobody knew me in this world. And within the first 30 days, I had collected $60,000 in sales.
So to do what exactly, Anthony? Can you explain that? I think you're getting to it, but I'm really curious how you did that, and what was it that you were, collecting all that money for?
Yeah. So back then, it was like the first kind of like, now you see it everywhere, but back then it was newer, and it was turning your expertise into a coaching business. So so I started connecting with a lot of people that were in real estate, but were also they were professionals, like attorneys and insurance professionals and different people from all walks of life, that they wanted to now start a coaching business to give back to their audience. And yeah, so I started bringing people through just a simple process, connected with them, having good conversation, figuring out how to best reach them and all that good stuff. And yeah, so the first 30 days, 60K, and collected money with
Awesome.
60K in recurring too. So like not recurring monthly, but like
Annually?
on the back end. Yeah. So
Okay.
the next month I was like, okay, that was fun, but did I get lucky? Right. Cause sometimes in marketing you get lucky. So I went out, did the exact same thing. It was eerie because same numbers. I think it was just a sign to me that I kind of stumbled upon something that was duplicatable. And because I was connected, people, I talked to people, they're asking me how I was using it, because everybody seems to think or know that there's business over on LinkedIn. They just don't know how to go get it. And so I kind of started figuring that out, and everybody started asking me about it. And so that was sort of the beginning of me helping people on the LinkedIn platform. And I guess to your term, the beginning of my journey to savant status.
You're a novice, and then you quickly got savant status today, right? It only took you a few years, but I gave it to you. Here you go.
I don't have a badge or,
I'll
anything
send
like
you one.
that.
I'll print something up.
That's awesome.
Cool. So you took this idea on a platform, just one platform, LinkedIn, and you helped people kind of take their expertise and convert it into some sort of not only a coaching program, but how to reach out to the right people to get them to join or sign up for their coaching programs.
Right.
Correct?
It was like a full, full ecosystem to build, because I'd already done that. And I was like, hey, I'm not like some of these newbies today that they go learn marketing, and they sell something they've never done. Right. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that necessarily. I think there's just some better practices to follow than, hey, I'm brand new, give me $20,000 and I think I can help you. Right?
Yeah.
I don't even know how they do that. That's a lot of pressure. Yeah, I had done that and proven it over and over. So I was like, you know what? That's something I know I can do and do very well. So of course, if somebody gives me a high amount of money, I'm going to be able to deliver on that. And so that was, yeah, I mean, that basically was the, how I started in this realm. But it was a full ecosystem, if you will. Everything that I've done previously with setting it up and going to get clients and conversations. I mean, I knew nothing about that stuff when I first got into it. I didn't know how to do webinars, didn't know how to write copy, how to email, have a conversation that, wasn't like just totally salesy. I mean, it was like, there's so many things that I learned along the way that just was totally helpful to other people that they were kind of sitting in the same boat I was before I started.
Gotcha. So I'm curious, you helped essentially coaches in any industry, or just real estate, or did it not matter, establish a presence on LinkedIn to get people to join whatever program it was?
Yes.
Are you, and my curious part is, are you also helping like real estate agents or owners get clients for real estate, or is it just coaching people who have like education?
Yeah, so that's where it started. And what's crazy is it evolved to this like massive thing that, just more and more people led to more and more people, right? So it's like real estate investors, real estate educators, real estate agents, then service-based business professionals of many different kinds, a lot of CPAs, insurance, it just consultants. I mean, it was like what I found, Andrew, over time was that my particular strategies could be molded to fit almost any of those industries very seamlessly. And the main thing was just like, who are you trying to target? Are they on LinkedIn? If they are, then we can leverage these things, make little adjustments here and there that will allow you to get results. And I didn't know that in the beginning, but as I started working with more and more people and just asking myself that question, like, will this work for this person?
Mm-hmm.
And then going in and actually doing it and proving it out. That's how we kind of got to where I am today. And now it's like, well, if you're in business and you're asking, because that's one of the questions I always get asked, will this work for my business? And it's always, what do you do? How long have you been doing it? Do you really deliver value? Right. And is your audience on the platform? And just doing some quick searching, I can tell you whether or not there's going to be a high potential for success on the platform.
Okay. So you almost took this franchise model or framework for yourself first. It worked really well. And then you said, can I plug this into this industry, that industry, this profession? And the more you, so that was your theory. Like, I think it can work. But then the more and more you plugged it in, it just started working. But you had to kind of tailor it a little differently for each. Like a CPA is not the same as a medical doctor, right? So, okay. So you have this framework that works extremely well to get people either clients, prospects, or at least leads in the door. But give us like the overarching, like, what does it look like when they do this? What are you actually doing?
Yeah. So the first thing that we do once we determine that it's a good fit is we look at the profile. Like if you have a LinkedIn profile, it's very, very important that you, and everybody's listening, if you have LinkedIn and LinkedIn account, and maybe you haven't logged in for 7 years, which is usually what people tell me, that number is, I don't know why it's 7, but hey, I haven't logged in for 7 years. I'm like, this is crazy. But if you have an account and you're not optimizing that profile, it's working. I always say it's either working for you or against you. And if you're not optimizing it, it's working against you. Because if I'm going to do business with Andrew Becker, I am going to look you up online before I give you any money.
Mm-hmm.
And depending on what I find is going to help me shape my opinion of, and also make my decision on what I'm going to do. Well, LinkedIn happens to pop up on the first page of Google and oftentimes in the very first position. So it makes sense to spend some time, some money, some energy on making sure that you show up very powerfully on that platform. Because additionally, if you're doing business with professionals, a lot of those professionals are also on LinkedIn. And so if they see that you are kind of like, there's, cobwebs on your profile and like, different things like that, just don't show that you understand what you're doing and that you're not professional, they'll just bounce and move on to somebody else.
Yeah, I think it's really funny. Like for me, it's just real estate professionals. I know you work with like a plethora of different professions, but like we always tell people, if you're an investor or if you're a realtor, whichever one, just a professional trying to sell a house, buy a house, whatever, the first thing people do is Google you. Yeah. Whether it's LinkedIn or Zillow, if it's a real estate agent. But it's so funny that like the majority or of a lot of them that we've worked with in the past, it's like, well, there's no profile picture. The website link doesn't work. Like, what do you expect people to think of you as like a professional? But then if you go to Anthony Simonie, realtor, and he has a cool picture, he has all these reviews, he has a website that works, a phone number that somebody picks up, and you're like, this is a real person doing real stuff.
Yeah.
It's like a pre-sell, but the former is like, am I getting scammed? But people still don't take it that seriously. Like, old looking website, never updated. So how important is it that you actually show up online like you're an active live individual?
Yeah, well, I'll tell you right now, and everybody will either get punched in the face with this reality or they'll just adapt before they get punched in the face. And that is that the more we move into this AI world, and I've been saying this, you can go back to webinars that I did 7 years ago, and I'm talking about technology and how like the more it advances, the more that we are going to crave the human element. It is ramped up so much more than that, light years faster than I ever thought. If you do not show up as a real person, because people are way more skeptical these days, you're going to lose a lot more than you'll win. And that is going to become your biggest competitive advantage. Is great, use technology where it makes sense, but don't use it to try to show up to be real or to build that human connection, because the only way you build a human connection is this. We build human connection like this. And you're right. If you don't show up that way, I don't even know what the time is now, but it's like, it used to be like what, 4 seconds or something. And people are like, I'm out.
Yeah.
Who knows where it is now?
If they struggle to even find you, you're not doing a very good job, whether it's on LinkedIn, or any other platform out there. So let's just first and foremost say that. But
Yeah.
yeah, let's go back into your your specialty of LinkedIn. I'm really curious to hear, like, you look at my profile, for example, on LinkedIn. Like, what are some of the items that you mentioned, like optimizing for LinkedIn? Can you give us like some hints or some tips
Yeah.
there on what an optimized profile looks like?
Yeah, and what I'll go ahead and do also for those people in your audience is I'll get you a link so they can download a guide. So if
Cool.
that's valuable for you all, I'll get you a
Yeah, of
link so you
course.
can do that.
Awesome.
And it kind of walks through different portions of the profile and explains why they're important and what to do. But essentially, when I talk like this, I always share the four most important things to look at first, and that is the cover image. That's just right behind your, top of your page, behind your photo. Making sure that it is dynamic in the sense that it conveys what you do very quickly to the audience when they land on your profile. I'm a big fan of if you speak at live events or if you're any kind of social proof, you kind of integrate it into the image. But if you don't have that, it's okay. You can do things like cityscapes in the background or where maybe you live, that city. And then I'm a big fan of putting like a quote on the image. A couple reasons for that. One is if you put something in within quotes, it's almost impossible for somebody not to read it. Like they're going to read that. They're just drawn to it. And then once you have them reading it, now it's like, what do you believe in? Like, what do you do? And
Hmm.
so just a real quick way to keep their attention, because again, as we move forward here, if you don't keep somebody's attention, you're dead in the water, right? Attention is going to be the most important thing as we move forward in this economy, in this marketplace. Having a really nice cover image is the first thing.
So cover image, Anthony, just for those of you listening who might not know. So you have a profile picture, then you have that rectangle behind it. That's the cover image in
The
LinkedIn.
rectangle behind it. Yeah, you're
Okay.
exactly right. And it's not
Okay.
hard to go find one of that. You can go to Canva and get a template and you can play around with it and come up with a nicer, probably nicer than what you already have, right? The people out there that not you necessarily, Andrew, but you
It's
know,
okay. You can call me out. It's cool.
but you can dress it up however you want. But imagery is important, and that's just because we remember imagery a lot easier than we do reading text, and it's just really, really important to take advantage of that. Not only on LinkedIn, but across all your social profiles and maybe your website as well. So cover image, and then your photo. So you mentioned having a photo, right? Well, I get a lot of people that come to me and they have a photo and it's great, but it doesn't look like what they really look like.
Hmm.
And again, we're in a world now where authenticity is very important. So if I show up, if I on my LinkedIn profile have a glamour shot, right, which is fine. That was like 1990s though, right? So people know it's like 30, 40 years old, whatever it is now, right? And they know that, right? It's like it's old, it doesn't look like you. And I show up and you don't even know what I really look like. We may not even connect at that meeting. And that's a big problem. And it sounds really because it seems so elementary, but something as small as just looking how you actually look makes a big difference in how we judge people.
Dude, I was right about to say it. This is so simple, but so many people don't. Just these two things alone. So many people don't follow them, and it's very, I guess not low hanging fruit, but it's low hanging fruit. Like, how important are these two things? Because the first thing is your billboard, the first thing that they see, but so many people don't think of it as that important, but it's extremely important.
Right. Well, it's like, like I said, it's like showing up to your meeting with a mask on,
Yeah.
right? But it's like
Yeah, yeah.
they don't know
Like one
you.
of those avatar Andrews as my profile picture. Like,
Yeah.
why? Why are you doing that?
I mean, it's cute, right? It's
Yeah.
cute, but that's not what we're trying to do here, right? We're not trying to be cute or, clever. We're trying to build relationships. And relationships are only built with authenticity. You can falsely do that, right? But we all know those relationships, they fall apart pretty quick, right? They don't stay. And I promise if people will just focus on building relationships, it will change their business for as long as they want to do business.
Yep. Very cool. So there's two things. Any other, like, on the page optimization tips that you don't mind sharing?
Yeah, so under your picture is going to be a place where you can put like your title or whatever. We call that the headline area. So
Hmm.
that's where you want to come up with a headline that just talks about what you do. It's kind of like if you think about what your audience is, whoever you're targeting, their biggest problem or their biggest desire, you want to address that in that area. So there's different ways you can do that. You can, and they can look it up online, what makes a good headline, that kind of a thing. But essentially, you want people to understand what you're doing in a very short period of time by just telling them what you do, right? But not just bragging like, hey, I'm Andrew Becker, and I've made this much money and blah blah blah. No, you don't want to do that. You want to talk about like, I'm Andrew Becker. I help people do a specific thing in a specific amount of time. And then I was like ending it. Little tip here is with a call to action. That call to action can just be see below with an arrow down. So if you know, like different clients I work with, if you look at my profile, you'll see it's all done that way. And it's just because I want to earn more time with people. I want to keep their attention because I know, and this was taught to me very early on by one of my mentors. He said that people will not ever first give you their money before they give you their time.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So I want to earn more time with folks. And that is as simple as even getting them to scroll a little bit more to learn more about profile.
Gotcha.
So
Okay.
I always keep that in mind while I'm doing things. And so that headline, very simple, what the problem you solve, or, how you help your people. And then a call to action to, let them know to scroll or look below, because that takes you to the next section, which is your about section, right? That about section, the fourth area, that's where you really need to write that about section like a sales letter. So there's probably some people that are watching this that understand what that means. If you don't, look it up. But essentially, that's where you're going to talk about what you do, who you work with, why they work with you, why this person reading should give you an opportunity to have a conversation. And then again, end it with like a call to action. So what is that? Like reach out to connect with you? Is it going to be to go to your website? Is it going to be to book a chat, to accept your connection request? Whatever that is, make sure you have a call to action there. But also make sure that you're not writing that in a way that makes you look like everybody else. Because what everybody else does is they brag and brag and brag and brag. Don't do that. You can easily get your point across by just saying how you help people, why people trust you, and then let them step into that, because they will if it's written right.
Okay, cool. So cover, background photo, the profile picture, the what you do, who you help, and a call to action kind of pointing them down. So that's just like your profile page. But, beyond that, if someone wants to learn or connect with you about how much more you can help them get their LinkedIn profile fully optimized, Anthony, how does somebody, reach out to you, connect with you for a chat about this stuff?
Yeah, so of course you can look me up on LinkedIn and connect with me, or you can send me an email at anthony@foundmoneypartnerships.com. And so if you want to throw that down there and people want to find out more or just have a conversation, then they can reach out to me. And
Very cool. Yeah, we'll include all of your contact information in this description of this episode, as well as the that asset that you're going to share with us. I think you mentioned like a checklist or something.
Yeah, so we've got a guide. Yeah,
the guide. That would be very, very awesome. Well, Anthony, it's been such a pleasure having you. I had one more question to ask you. What is like a book, a resource, other than the guide that you're going to be writing? I guess that should count, but
you know what? That guide saves you no matter what you need, right? It covers it all.
If you want to repeat the guide and go a little bit more into it, I guess that's fine. But like, what's the last book that you read that you like made some progressive steps in your life, in your company, or in your community that you could share with us?
Man, I like a lot of them, but there's a book that I make sure to read or listen to on audio a couple of times a year. And that book is called The Obstacles Away. And
I have that book. That's an awesome book.
It is one of those books that, at least for me, resonates every time I listen to it or read it, because I'm always at some different spot in my life or business. And there's always something new that I pick up that I can apply right then and there.
Right.
And if you've been in business for any amount of time, you know that the only guarantee is there's going to be challenges, right? There's going to be obstacles. And if you look at those obstacles as like roadblocks, and now it just holds you up, you're going to be in big trouble. But if you look at them as, you know what, why did this happen? Why is this a roadblock? And you learn from it, and you start adopting that mindset of like, hey, this is just a signal for me to do something different. And then you figure out what that something different is. It will change your life.
Yep.
Personally and professionally.
Well said. Well, great book, great conversation. Again, if you are struggling with getting leads or trying to, get people to pay attention to you on LinkedIn, Anthony is the savant of all savants of LinkedIn. Reach out to him, have at least a conversation with him to see how he can help you. Anthony, thank you so much for being here, dude.
Hey, it's great to be here, man.
All right, man. Later.